Live at 5 is what I promised, and here I am as promised. So welcome to Freewheeling. My name is Siddhartha Nayak Partner. Thank you for joining us. For those of you who are going to start to tune in, it is going to be another fun show, hopefully. And my guest today is no doubt someone who's going to add to all of that because it is something I've been looking forward to. This conversation today will be with the man who heads Škoda's business in India, officially the Brand Director, Sales, Service and Marketing for Škoda Auto India, or Auto, as I should say correctly. And so let me go ahead and straight away welcome my guest. It is none other than Zac Hollis. Zac, good afternoon to you in Prague. I know that's where you are right now. Thank you for joining us.
Good afternoon. It's really good to join you today, and I'm looking forward to this conversation. I must say it's great to see the cars all behind you. It reminds me of many things.
You know, these have been sort of hard collected over the years, some from drives, some from, global and local experiences we've had with the brand. So yeah, some of them are, really, really old too, like the first Superb there, which, came in just few units to India. But thank you for noticing.
We'll be driving again soon, Siddharth, don't worry.
I cannot wait. I mean,
we'll be driving again soon.
That's the one thing I know we share, of course, the passion for these kind of cars and the driving. But you are, of course, back home. I know you made it home before the lockdowns happened, so that's good. You're with family as well. Prague has been home for you for a while, because I know it's not where you're originally from, but has that been home for you for a while?
Yeah, I mean, we left. I joined the automotive business almost over 30 years ago now, and I joined in the UK originally as a finance guy. And then I moved into sales and marketing, so I worked in the Czech Republic from 2007. And that's when we kind of set up a home here. I then went to Ireland. I was in Dublin for a while, and then went to China, and then I came back to India. So my career has taken me with Škoda across many countries, and I've gained many experience and a great time with Škoda in these different countries. And yes, my family is here in Prague. My wife is here. And my two daughters are currently living in England as well. So we're a bit separated, which makes things a bit difficult for everybody, but there are many people in this similar situation at the moment. So, but yes, this is where I am now.
You've been using that as home base for how many years though then?
I think we've been using it for around 12, 13 years now in total, the Czech Republic. I love this country. I like the people here in Prague. As we discussed earlier, I set up a business here as well, which has been a learning process too. But most of my time is spent in India, running the team in India, yes.
All right. And how has it been for you through this lockdown? I mean, of course, going slow on some part of the business, but still managing to keep some part of it going?
I think most of us, we're all working from home. As you know, you're working from home. Many other people that are listening now are also working from home. And we have to adapt to that way of working. What I'm doing, for instance, is I'm working to the same time zone as India. So I'm getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning for my first meetings. And then, fortunately, I'm managing to finish around 4 or 5, which is also quite nice to spend some time with family, etc., etc. So it's tough. I think what you miss, Siddharth, is you miss this personal office contact. You miss this banter, you miss this social contact of the office. That's what you miss. But overall, I think, we will get through this. We're doing our best to work. And I think what's important is that we are supporting our teams at this time. And it's also important that we are supporting our dealers, and we're supporting the people in our dealers. And we've all got a responsibility, a social responsibility, to look after the people in our teams and also the people in our dealers. Because at the end of this, I'm going to need salespeople, I'm going to need service people, and I'm going to need dealers going forward. So we're doing our best to look after everybody, and not only to look after them physically and make sure financially they're secure, but also to make sure that they're mentally kept occupied and everything else. This is also quite important, I think, too.
Oh, absolutely. And while you were talking there, I've just quickly plugged in my headphones because I was told that there was a little bit of an echo coming onto you as well right now. And I could request you to move a little bit to your left so that they get to see you throughout. Lots of questions and a lot of people already starting to sort of join us. So you might want to say hello to them. A lot of people wishing you.
I'm sure some of these people I know from Twitter and other things too.
I'm sure, because a lot of people are asking you, addressing you in a very familiar fashion. Hi, Zac, and stuff like that. So I'm guessing you do know them. Yeah.
I like to talk to customers as well. It's something that helps me understand what customers want, helps me improve the business, and of course, I think it's something that I actually personally enjoy doing it. And we've had several customer meets. I've met customers. I've had a beer with customers, and I quite enjoy it. So, hi to the guys.
All right. Now I have switched to a picture that I can see of this beautiful red Felicia.
Yeah.
And as we talk about this car, I'm going to keep showing a few more pictures of it that I have with me. Tell me about this. Tell me about what the background on this car is.
So this is a 1962 Škoda Felicia Super. So a Super because it has a twin Weber carburetor. It's 55 horsepower, and it's very slow. It's very hard to drive. But of course, this was what cars were like in the 1950s and 1960s. And what you've got to remember also is that at this time, the Czech Republic was part of Czechoslovakia. And of course, it was part of communist Soviet Union. So the investment also wasn't going into the factory. So some of the technology that's in the car is is also perhaps not up to what you'd see from German or British cars at the time. So has real character to it. And the fact it's a cabriolet and it's a really amazing restoration. I'm really happy with the restoration on this. It looks stunning. It looks unique. There were 15,000 of these cars actually built in the Czech Republic. And the whole project, the car is worth probably what I spent on it. So it's been a love thing from that point of view, rather than an investment. And I love it. I don't drive it very often, probably 2 or 3 cars times a year. And it's really great fun. It's not something that goes fast, but it is something that everybody turns to and looks and waves. So I absolutely love the car. It's great fun.
So what I have right now, you can see the car on a flatbed or a trailer. And and then, there's another picture of that, which has this really racy green, what looks like an Octavia RS, I think, in front of it. What's that about?
So there's a story there. What happened is, originally I took this car over to the UK and I stored it at my parents' house. Mm-hmm. And then it needed a lot of work doing to it. As like many old things, they need repairing, things needed maintaining. And it just wasn't possible to do it in the UK. So I took an Octavia RS Combi. I put a trailer on the back. I drove that all the way from the Czech Republic to England. That picture you have is of the car on the ferry coming back. I then picked up the car from my parents' house and I drove all the way back again. So it took around 14 hours to drive across. And everybody's saying to me, what the hell are you doing? Towing on the back of an Octavia RS, because you can only do 100 kilometers an hour on the autobahns in Germany. But, that's what I did. I brought the car back again. And then some friends repaired the car. So really, that's the story behind those pictures. And it was a really great fun trip as well.
Oh, I bet it was. And I would love to sort of get to see a little bit of that car. Maybe someday, I'll be able to do that.
Has my camera just reversed?
Yes, I was about to say, I see a table lamp now, so you need to flip back.
I don't know how that happened. I didn't do it, but I apologize for that.
No, but this is the fun of doing this live. I think
this is also the fun of sometimes the technology doesn't always work. I never touched it, but there you go.
It just wanted to entertain us. So again, a lot of people saying hello and good evening to you as well, and a lot of people have now started reacting to those pictures of the Felicia. So guys, hang in there with your questions because I have plenty more that I still want to sort of get into with Zac first. You mentioned the Octavia RS there. The previous generation, of course, is a car that I have driven fairly well and quite extensively, and even the one before that, frankly. It's certainly a car that I think anybody from my side of the fence will tell you, yes, please launch it. You've shown an intent, obviously, already to launch that car, but now with a generation change coming, what's the story going to be there? Would you come in with the new Octavia and bring in the RS right away?
I think I would like to bring in the RS. That would certainly be my wish to do. I think whether I can bring the car as a parts and components car, I don't know. But I would certainly like to bring in the RS. If we bring in the car as a CBU, then we'll have to limit the numbers. Mm-hmm. Because obviously the price is quite high, so it really becomes a collector's and an enthusiast's car. But yeah, I would certainly like to bring in the next generation into India for sure. That would be what my desire to do, I guess.
What we're now seeing on the screen, Zac, are shots of the new generation of the Octavia, which is also something that's, I know, come out in Europe. We are waiting for that car in India. I understand that obviously a lot of plans would have changed, given what's happened right now in the world. But all said and done, never mind those delays. The car is still on track for India, though.
The car is still on track for India. The original plan was to try and get the car by the end of this year. I think, to be honest, I think the car will probably slip into 2021 now. But for sure, the car is on track. It's coming as a parts and components, so there's quite a lot of work that has to be done here in the factory in terms of how that actually works. And yeah, we will. I hope to bring that car will definitely come in early 2021 for sure. Yes, and it's actually an amazing car. And really, Octavia has been the backbone of the Škoda brand in India right from when we launched way back 20 years ago. You must carry on with that car for the Indian customer.
Still seeing pictures again of the car. It looks really very, very handsome. I mean, I haven't had the chance to see it in the flesh because obviously all the recent auto shows, etc., have been cancelled or deferred as well. But right. Having said that, the part that you've just excited me with is that the RS might come at the same time. That's great news.
Yeah, the RS could come. Yes, that would be good.
But tell me, this rule that we have now, the 2,500 units, no homologation required, etc. Typically, that would have been where you could have gone with the RS. But also given the 2.0 strategy, which has all these SUVs coming in for the group, I don't just mean for Škoda, but for VW as well, does that sort of mess that up a little bit? That's not the right way of saying it, I know, but...
Yeah, I mean, we will always have two strategies for India. We will have parts and components cars coming over in limited volumes because, of course, these cars are in niche segments in India. And we will have those. But, of course, with India 2.0, we will bring in 2021 a mid-size SUV and a mid-size notchback. We'll bring both of those cars in 2021. And our plans are still on track to bring those cars in 2021. We're working really hard with the engineering team and the product development team to make sure they are not delayed, despite what's happening with the coronavirus. Hopefully we can achieve that and bring those cars in. So we'll always have two strategies for India. We will have cars made in India, designed in India for Indian customers. This is the India 2.0 cars, locally produced with 90-95% localization. And then we will also bring in parts and components cars in much more limited numbers, but also in niche segments. This is really good too, that they're in niche segments. And we've been very successful in those cars, in those segments, such as with Superb, Kodiaq, and of course with the Octavia.
So I'll get to the 2.0 car in a second. But let me start by talking about the Karoq, because you showed it at the Auto Expo, and I'm assuming that's part of that niche strategy as well. This is our understanding. Talk us a little bit through what the plan is with that car, because it's created some excitement. I know because of the timing, you haven't been able to sort of follow up on what you showed at the Expo. But tell us about that.
Most of the cars have already arrived. They're either been customs cleared or they're waiting to be customs cleared. And literally everything was just put on hold because of what's happening now with the coronavirus situation. And those cars are unfortunately delayed. But literally, as soon as the lockdown comes, those cars will be delivered to the dealers, and we will have a launch of the car. We probably won't do such a big bang glitzy launch this time round. We'll work much more on a digital approach, because not only do we have to be cognizant of the fact that we don't want to bring big groups together because of the risk of virus infection, etc. We also need to be a bit cost conscious as well in the future environment. So I think we'll see much more launches and events being done digitally in the future. So we've had really great response to the car. I mean, it's a big premium sized SUV. As a 5-seater SUV, only just a little bit smaller than the Kodiaq. So I'm looking forward to bringing the car to the market.
Again, while you were talking...
Yes.
While you were talking, we were seeing visuals of it as well. So yes, it is extremely good looking, nice size as well, very apt for India in many ways. It's you're right. A lot of people who are already sort of waiting for it. The idea that, I know this is a group thing, and so I'm not going to ask you the background or the details of the decision, but a lot of people identify Škoda with diesel in India even now. The fact that all these new cars will not be diesel. What's the communication strategy going to be around that?
I think there's two things. Firstly, that we have very efficient TSI engines going forward. So if you take the 1-litre TSI engine that will be launched in the Rapid, and that engine will carry on also into the India 2.0 cars, that engine is 25% more economical than the outgoing petrol engine. It is cheaper to maintain than a diesel engine, and of course the purchase price is cheaper than diesel engines as well. So the cost of ownership of the 1 litre TSI Rapid is actually very similar to the cost of ownership of diesel engines. So yes, we've got many diesel fans out there, but we need to show that actually you're not compromising on power, you're not compromising on performance, and you're not compromising on economy by buying a TSI engine. So that's part of that. That's part of that strategy. And let's also remember, we are still, as I've said before, we're still looking at diesel. Diesel is not finished here. We're doing tests on various diesel engines, but it's more likely to come in the bigger cars, to be honest, than in cars like that.
All right, we got the Rapid that you had at the Auto Expo. We've got pictures of that on the screen right now too. A little bit of a facelift on that car as well. Not facelift, but some tweaks I can see. And then there's also the Monte Carlo edition of the Rapid. So when the TSI cars come in, all of that comes in together?
Yeah, we will. I mean, there are we're suffering with a little bit of supply issues on some certain bits of equipment that go into the cars, but hopefully we'll deal with those. And then all of launched literally as soon as the lockdown is over. What we will focus on is niche products such as Monte Carlo, such as the matte effect, which I think you saw also at the motor show, and then also on value products as well for that segment. So we will be very good value. That's what I can promise consumers in India with the next generation, with the BS6 Rapid.
We're in fact seeing visuals of that matte edition on the screen again right now, Zach. So that does look pretty good. I mean, the paintwork on that is quite stunning. Makes the car look a little meaner and a little deadly, I think.
It's really fantastic. I've seen the car in the flesh, and I was just bowled away on how amazing the car looks in that matte effect. Really was impressed with it. It won't come straight away. It'll come in time for the festive season, but it looks absolutely stunning as a car. The guys have done an amazing job in doing it. They've got also really clean solutions in terms of repairing, because it's all very good, our factory painting things like matte, but also you've got to make sure that this can be repaired by our dealerships in future as well. And we've cracked that one too.
All right. Now, I think it's fair for me to start taking some questions, so I will in a second. But one other car that I have to talk about in the context of what's coming is, of course, going to be the update on the Superb. It's a segment almost defined by that car today, because most of the competition has kind of disappeared in that space. It used to be a very crowded segment, but the Superb kind of holds on to that benchmark in many ways. Your thoughts on the updated new Superb that's expected, and by when can we have it?
So the Superb facelift will also be launched very shortly after the lockdown is lifted. We're just waiting for one particular part for the car from Europe, but there's no reason why the Superb facelift can't be launched also very, very quickly. It comes really nice. It's got the new Škoda lettering across the back. It's got the new front end, the new bumpers. It looks absolutely fantastic. It's got a great TSI engine in it as well. And what I love about the Superb is that, as you just said, the only competitors to that car are the big German premium guys. There's nothing else really competing with the Superb, and we represent excellent value for money in that segment. So I'm very confident in the facelift Superb for this year.
Yes, we saw the lettering at the back on that car. In fact, I was going to ask you.
Really nice feature.
I was going to ask you, is that going to be the first one to get it in India as far as the India portfolio is concerned?
It was we had it on the Kodiaq Scout. If you saw the Kodiaq Scout,
right.
We had lettering on the back for the Kodiaq Scout, but then the Superb gets this lettering on the back as well. And I think it's good. It's something that I think was started originally in China and has now been brought over to Europe, and now we've got that really nice lettering on the back as well for the Indian cars.
And the 2.0 cars will all have that too.
The 2.0 cars, I can't reveal the design of the 2.0 cars. I've seen them; they look fantastic. You'll get the chance to see them soon. And of course, you saw the Vision IN at the auto show. And I'd like to personally thank you also for the award that you gave to that car of the auto show. I couldn't be there, unfortunately, to collect it myself, because I was we had our own dealer conference that day. But nevertheless, it was really appreciated. So thank you for that.
No, in fact, we were pretty much ecstatic about that, because for us it was fairly unanimous on that particular category on several levels. As I in fact talk about it, since I am going on playing videos for the sake of our viewers, I am going to play another video as we talk about this. I thought we'll jump to this a little bit later, but it's as good a time as any to quickly.
So we did that car because the Delhi Auto Show was very, very important to us. We also had the group night that was there, of course, with all the brands a little while before that. And I mean, when you ask designers, design us a concept car, they love it because they really can have some fun with the car. And that's what they did. They had some fun with the lighting features on the side, with the illuminated logos, etc., etc. And the designers had some great fun with the car. It looks amazing. I wanted to keep it in India to show it more, but unfortunately they had to take the car back. They're very sensitive about their design concepts, and it really looks stunning. But of course, underneath that car is the basis of the India 2.0 car. It doesn't take a lot of imagination to take away some of the design elements, which are never going to make it, we all know, into a final car and come up with that. But nevertheless, there was some really good feedback to some of the features, and maybe we can put some of those in the final car when they arrive, such as the illuminated logos and things like that. There was some good feedback to that, and possibly we can put some of those into the final car as well.
No, really handsome car, great proportions, really nice upright stance. From a typical SUV perspective, I think that works really well. Okay, so it's only fair that I start taking some questions, and well, like I said, there are many questions that have come in, but I'll start with a question from someone named Seven Hills. Hi Zac and Siddharth. My question: why is the Škoda brand still missing in some tier 2 and 3 cities? There's a huge market for solid, well-built products. People here don't look beyond the Fortuner or the Crista or the Scorpio. How do you respond to that?
This is a really good question. And if we're going to be successful, I've said that my long-term ambition is to sell 1 lakh of cars in India. If we're going to be successful, we need to have representation in those tier 2 and 3 cities. So at the moment, we are represented around 85 dealers, outlets in India, and we need to increase that to 200. So in the next 3 years, we will increase to 200 outlets in India, and we will be in all of those tiers 2 and 3 cities. So my response is our plan is to expand in all of those cities, not only for a showroom, but also in terms of service center as well. So that is part of the plan, yes.
Okay, very specific question now from Dr. Kushal Parekh. Anytime in the future, would the Karoq come with 4x4 as it does in other markets? Would you have a variant that will offer VarioFlex seats?
Okay, the Vario, at the moment, the CBU cars that we've brought in, they are one specification. They're the specification that we saw at the motor show, and we've done that partly for simplicity and partly for the way the factory can build the car. So this is done. What we now will do for 2021 is we're looking at parts and components for Karoq. When we look at parts and components, we will then look at what is the right offering for India, and perhaps we can be a little more organized and a little bit more comprehensive for the Indian customer. I can't promise that it'll be 4x4 for Karoq.
Sure.
I will look at the VarioFlex seating. If people think this is a good idea, then let's look at doing this possibly in the future. I know that people love that seating in the Yeti. We had that seating in the original, and people love that seating. So let's see what we end up with. Not in the initial batch of cars, they're all 2-wheel drive, but possibly in the future we could see 4-wheel drive, yeah.
We should explore this a little bit more. I like the idea that you could then look at a little bit of a more feedback-oriented spec when you do move to assembling them in Aurangabad.
Of course, and this is part of the reason why I'm on Twitter and I engage with people to get feedback to make sure that we are successful with our launches. If we don't listen to what customers want, then we won't be successful in the future. This is always my opinion.
All right, next question is from Sagar, who says, I want to ask Mr. Zac, I really would like to know when Škoda's after sales will be good. It's a little vague. And then he's also, by the way, says that he loves Prague. So.
Oh, okay. So greetings to him from Prague. I recognize many people's observations around our after-sales service and our after-sales support in the past. I think the good thing is that many of these conversations, customers said, but you have improved things recently. And that recognition that we've improved things recently gives me some confidence that we're moving the right way ahead. So we are reducing. I think there's a few things that we have to do. We have to bring our parts prices down to be more affordable. And this is what we're doing. We have to increase our reach of dealerships to make sure that we are there with the service centers close to our dealership, to our customers, and we're looking at things like 4-year with things like 4 years warranty. This also starts to give customers more confidence in after sales. But I have to be honest also, I'm working with our dealer network to make sure I've only got the right long-term partners going forward. And these long-term partners have to look after customers. They have to deliver good customer satisfaction. They have to have good after-sales operations. They have to be well managed. And if they're not the right long-term partners for us, then we will have those questions. We will ask those questions to them about our future partnership. So we've got to have the right partners going forward. But as I always say to customers, if you have real examples and real feedback, then send them to me. And people do. And I have those conversations also with some of our dealer partners to understand how we can improve the service.
All right. Now I have to also quickly recognize the fact that a lot of people are waiting for my contest, which is a part of every episode.
Oh.
And so hang in there for a second, Zac. I'm going to quickly just play out that little contest promo. And
Can I enter
then
the contest?
I think you'll have an unfair advantage and you'll soon find out why. Just hang on 1 second.
Carry on.
Log on to carandbike.com/freewheeling and answer a simple question. 3 lucky winners win a 2-night 3-day stay at any domestic Club Mahindra resort. Not just that, at the end of the month, all correct entries are eligible for the grand prize of an all-expense paid 3-night 4-day trip to Dubai or Singapore. So, keep freewheeling. Terms and conditions apply.
Okay, so that's what you have to do. You have to go to our website, and that's where you can answer the questions that I'm going to ask you. So there'll be 3 questions that I will ask you, all multiple choice, don't worry. And if you're ready, I'm going to start off with question 1. And it's a really simple one. Where is the Škoda Auto headquarters located? This is the global headquarters. Your first option is Prague. The second option is Mlada Boleslav. And the third is Brno. So I'll repeat that question. Where is Škoda Auto's headquarter? And the first option, Prague. Second, Mlada Boleslav. And the third, Brno. So as you can see now, Zac, that is why you have an unfair advantage. You would know the
Fair
answer. So yeah, you can't enter the contest, I think. But having said that, yeah, the next.
Good luck to everyone.
Say that again.
Good luck to everyone.
Yeah, we're going to ask 2 more questions, and they're both Škoda related as well. So we'll jump straight back into questions from some of the audience right now. Rohan has a question about, a lot of people asked about the next generation Octavia, but we've already discussed that at the start. Rohan has a question, sir, do we have any chance of the Fabia launching in India again?
Okay, I get this question quite a lot, so
Yeah,
I'm good at my
imagine.
answers here. I mean, what I've said to people is that we will start with India 2.0 with a mid-size SUV and a new sedan. These come in 2021. But what we've done is we have developed the MQB A0 India platform. And once you've got the platform, we can then look at what other body styles might come in the future. So let's see what other body styles might come in the future. As I say, a hatchback could be one of them. A smaller SUV could be one of them. You know, we have to look at what body styles we can put on top of it, because, you know, if we've got a long-term strategy for India, we need to have a long-term product plan as well. So it's possible we could bring a hatchback in the future. It's not decided which products come after India 2.0.
I mean, the obvious logic here is, and there's a question from Niaz about it as well, saying, you know, so many sales come from these segments and you have to have something in the Polo segment. The market is still skewed towards hatchbacks. I can imagine that with the compact SUVs and the subcompact SUVs, a lot of that is changing dramatically. But given the sheer volume that still remains, that sort of still resides in hatchback territory, is that something that you are actively looking at, or is it more like you said, just a long-term thing?
Yeah, we are actively looking at it. We're actively looking at what products come after India 2.0. And of course, the hatchback segment is one of the biggest segments in India, so we have to take that segment seriously. What I would say is that the SUV segments are growing very rapidly. People are bringing lots of new products into these segments, cool new products that are being successful, and these segments are growing. But nevertheless, the hatchback segment is still obviously very popular in India. Obviously, there are different price points also of that hatchback segment, and we would have to bring a hatchback in as a premium car. Well, of course, many of the cars are at the lower end of the price segment. So, but yes, we are looking at it seriously.
All right, more of a comment than a question from Roshali, who says hi to both of us and then says, I wish classic cars like this could come to India as well. That's, I think, in reference to the Felicia's pictures. Another question that I know is more of a typical press question, especially in the early days when you first announced the 2.0 strategy being about compact SUVs. Nikhilesh says, good evening, Zac. Is the Škoda Kamiq the Vision IN concept?
I think I get this question also,
yeah.
And you find out eventually that our mid-size SUV, okay, it's similar in size proportion to the European Kamiq, but it is not the same car. It is a car designed for the Indian customer, made in India for Indian tastes, whereas the Kamiq, of course, is designed for Europe, for European taste. And that's the great thing about the India 2.0 strategy. We've got cars designed for the Indian customers with Indian-specific requirements in it. We have a design and engineering center in Pune to make sure we get the right products for the Indian consumer going forward. So, and it might not even be called Kamiq. I can't say what it would be called, but it might not even be called Kamiq in the future.
Probably with a K though, right? I mean, going by all the other SUVs. That's a fair assumption.
You're a clever guy, sir.
Yeah, I don't think that needs rocket science. Question from Chirag, which also I don't think needs rocket science, but I'm going to ask it anyway. Is the new sedan that you're talking about coming next year the next generation Rapid or a replacement for the Rapid?
Yeah, I mean, essentially, the Rapid is the PQ25 platform, and the Rapid will be phased out when we bring in the India 2.0 cars. So, yes, but it will look, I mean, it won't be called the new Rapid or anything like this, because it is a completely different car on a completely different platform and a completely new design from that point of view. But clearly, it's targeted at a similar group of customers.
All right. Another related question to something you've already addressed, but I'll just acknowledge it anyway, is from Nikhil, who says, "Hi, sir. Is there any plan to launch a hatchback under the 2.0 program?" I think you've talked about that, so you don't have to answer there. But the part that I know we typically would have started with, but we jumped straight into the cars, is a question that comes from Atul. How is Škoda helping to tackle the COVID-19 situation with its distribution channel?
I think I mean, when you come about distribution channel, it's difficult to distribute anything in India at the moment because the borders are locked. But there's a number of things we are doing. Our dealers are doing a lot of work to make sure that the really important people at the moment, the doctors, are kept on the road. So we've got 7,000 doctors driving Škoda cars. It's a very popular vehicle for doctors, and we're making sure all of those are kept on the road. And every day I'm getting stories of doctors being rescued by our dealers. That's something that our dealers are doing. Many of our dealers are also sanitizing emergency vehicles, using their people and using their skills and sanitizing emergency vehicles, police vehicles, ambulances. This is being done. And then, of course, at our factories in Pune and Aurangabad, the guys there have adapted the production processes and they're making the face shields. This is being made quite successfully and has been very popular in hospitals in Pune, such as Sassoon Hospital in Pune and also other hospitals in Aurangabad. And I know also the company has committed quite a substantial financial donation to the hospitals in Pune, and there's a press release already been issued on that. So we're very committed to working on improving, on helping the community at the moment with this COVID-19 issue. And of course, we're doing this very much on a local basis. So we're working with the hospitals in Pune, with the hospitals in Aurangabad, and the dealers are doing their best also to support this.
All right. More questions. They're just piling in, so I'm going to quickly take... there's again stuff that you've talked about, but I'll acknowledge it anyway. Aftab says, I own a Rapid, and some of the parts replacement sometimes feels like it's higher than the Fortuner or the Innova. I think you've addressed some of this in terms of how the after-sales process is going to improve. Arush says, we're waiting for the 2.0 TDI as well, not just the 2.0 plan. And then there's a question from Akshay that's again a little specific. Hi, Zac. Now that all the manufacturers are throwing in a panoramic sunroof in their SUVs to attract customers, can we expect the same with Škoda's 2.0 SUVs as well?
I think I can't reveal the specification of the SUVs, but
nice try.
If I'm going to be successful and sell cars, I need to bring in the specification and equipment that the Indian consumer wants. That would be my response.
I don't get where this sunroof thing comes from in such a hot country, to be honest. All these years.
I mean, somebody once told me, all I see is children standing outside a sunroof.
And that's just terrible.
Please don't do that, you know. So, and you're right. It also makes the whole air conditioning system have to work so much harder because of the sunroofs as well. But nevertheless, it's a consumer taste in India, and we need to make sure that we've got what Indian consumers want, because we want to sell as many cars as we can.
All right. Vinod says the Kodiaq diesel 4x4 coming to India.
So the Kodiaq in BS6 will only be a petrol. So there'll be a petrol Kodiaq in BS6. We'll launch that towards the end of this year. And we're still, as I said, we're still testing diesels for the Indian market. Because what you've got to remember, Siddharth, it's not just the diesel meeting today's BS6 standards, but there'll be new standards coming out in 2023, and we've got to make sure that we're ready for those as well. So there's quite a lot of work involved in making sure diesels actually satisfy the standards for the future. So we are continuing to test cars. Yes.
But that's interesting, because I accept that from an investment perspective, that logic is absolutely correct. But is it then fair to assume that that is the time frame when you would bring diesels back?
No, I think I think that's not the case. I think it's just making sure that your diesels, if you're bringing in a diesel next year, that actually it has the right level of return and it runs right the way through to the new legislation. I think this is in 2023. So this is the thing we've always got to consider. You can't just bring a diesel for now. It's got to be right for the next phase of this as well. So. All
right, this is a very interesting question because it's again really specific. Rishabh says, I'm a proud owner of a Superb. I want to opt for the two-year extended warranty, but unfortunately it comes bundled with insurance and RSA under the Škoda Shield Plus program. When can I expect just a standalone extended warranty if I want one?
So firstly, hi to Rishabh, because I think I've spoken to him before. We are moving over to a new system for warranty. So in the next couple of months, we should have that done, and then I can offer him just a 2 years warranty.
All right.
So a couple of months is the answer.
The question from Bharat is one that I think I want the answer to, even though, or let me put it this way, I think I know the answer, but a part of me still sort of dreams and fantasizes about this. And the question is, please, can you get the RS Estate too? It's the one I'm lusting for. It's got to be a green RS Estate. That's the car anyone needs. It'll supplement my Octavia Mark II and Mark III as well. So he's obviously a current owner.
Just one for him, yeah?
Just one for him, and maybe one for me.
It's interesting you look at this because every market has different favors in terms of body styles. 80 to 90% of the German customers will buy combis. In the UK, it's more 50-50. China is a sedan market only. India is a sedan market. If you were to bring combis into India, there'd be a risk that the only customers would be you and him. So I think however, having said that, with the FPU strategy with cars like RS, then it is possible that we can bring a few in if I'm confident that we can sell them going forward. But to have a long-term strategy around combis in India would be a very brave thing for any manufacturer to do. Personally, I like combis. But
I'm with you. I'm completely with you on that, but never quite understood why we never saw them take off here. And now, of course, with the SUVs, it's unlikely to happen anyway. A question now from Suhas before I ask them my question for the contest. We saw some rendered images of a sports car by Škoda, and yes, it's been communicated by Zac that no real car may emerge from that. But what about looking at a driver enthusiast's car from Škoda? It's more of a global question.
You have the Octavia RS.
Yeah, actually, that's true.
It is a driver enthusiast car. This is an amazing car. What we've done with cars like this is we've made a sporty, fast, agile, great handling car as a family car. Mm-hmm. And I think that's important from us that we've made it also as a family car.
All right.
But in terms of out-and-out racing cars, I will leave these to my friends in Porsche and Lamborghini.
Yeah, I was going to say you have enough going on in the family there, so
exactly.
No need to worry. All right, so question 2 of the contest now, guys. Remember that I have already asked the first question, and you can of course get all of this on the URL that you're seeing right now on your screens, carandbike.com/freewheeling. Question 2 of today's contest is, which of these is not a current Škoda production model? I'll repeat that. Which of these is not a current production model from Škoda? Option 1, Scala. Option 2, Favorite. Option 3, Citigo. So we're talking about the global portfolio here, and Scala, Favorite, or I'm not sure if that's the right way to pronounce it, and the Citigo are your options. And remember, you've got to log on to carandbike.com/freewheeling, enter your details and your answers, and yeah, you could win. So back to Zac, and next question from Sudesh for you. Would you be looking at getting in electric vehicles?
Absolutely. I think the long-term future of mobility in the world will eventually move towards electric. Whether that be in 10 years, 20 years, or 30 years, it will move towards electric. The question for India is, what is the right time to bring electric cars into India? And I think at the moment the answer is not yet. I think there are a few manufacturers launching niche cars into India as electric cars, but we need the infrastructure in place as well. I mean, it's all very good being able to charge your car at home in Mumbai, but if you want to go to Kolhapur to see family, then how do you charge the car in Kolhapur, etc., etc. So when the time is right, we will bring electric cars into India. Personally, I can't see this being in the short to medium future, but yes, we'll bring electric cars into India.
Well, once again, you've got a Fabia fan here, Shakti, who says, please launch the quintessential Fabia with the 1 liter TSI. So those comments and questions aren't going to go away, I think.
No, no problem. I get them regularly.
I am sure. At some point, I hope that, you can actually go back to looking at that very, substantially.
I didn't write it off.
I am glad. I'm a huge hatchback fan, so that's personally, I think that I'm glad too. Ritvik asks, would you have a coupe SUV in your lineup at any point?
This is an interesting one because maybe he's looking towards what's offered by the brand in China.
Yeah.
So in China, we have a small coupe, small SUV coupe, and we have a big SUV coupe as well. Obviously, with the size of the Chinese car market, which is 23 million cars, obviously this is falling at the moment, then, even a niche of a coupe SUV has enough volume to make a business case. So I would like to launch this sort of thing in the future, yes. This would be certainly my wish, but we've got to build the right business case because I think the cars look really good. But let's see what we can do in the future. But yeah, certainly I quite like what the guys in China have done in terms of coupe versions of SUV.
It was a nice surprise, I have to say. And by the time, the segment had already been established, so it wasn't surprising anyone, I suppose. But the question from Rakesh is something that I know has been on everybody's mind. The timing of your 2.0 product launches, especially because you showed them in February this year, and the fact that they don't come in till next year. It's a very big segment. He's talking about this compact SUV space where many manufacturers have already sold large numbers of units in excess of 70,000. Do you think that by the time you launch the 2.0 products, the trend for that size SUV will remain?
Personally, I believe this segment is here to stay. People like the robustness of the car. They like the fact they're slightly raised up as well. They like the view of it. The kids like the whole size of the car. The car is really practical from that point of view. So I think the compact SUV segment is definitely here to stay. Yes, everybody would like to bring cars earlier in the market, but of course there is a product timeline in terms of from the idea to the design to the development to the engineering. This all takes time. So I think our job now is to make sure we do get this car on time in April, May 2021, and try and limit any delays caused by the current COVID-19 virus situation, and that's a challenge for the engineering team to achieve that. But no, I'm confident this segment is definitely here to stay.
Spandan Mehta has a question for you. He says, going forward, will we see an increasing differentiation amongst the VW Group brands, especially from Volkswagen and Audi? And I know this comes back to the fact that you had the first Rapid and the Vento being a little similar, the Fabia and the Polo being a bit similar. And I know that officially both the brands have gone on record to talk about that differentiation. Do you want to just sort of set the record straight for him as well?
I think when you see in 2021 the Volkswagen mid-sized SUV and our also mid-sized SUV, you will see that they are very much family resemblance of Škoda is there in our car, and you will see the design differences very different to Volkswagen. So you will clearly see this in the differentiation, much more differentiation than what you've seen in Rapid and Vento at the moment. So I am very relaxed about that. I think the designer, I've seen all four of the cars. I think the designers have done an amazing job in actually making sure there is clear differentiation between product and that the car really has a Škoda family resemblance about it.
All right. There are two questions. I think because we just played out while you were talking about the SUV next year. Again, I was playing out shots of the Vision IN, and Sam says, can we expect? First, of course, he wanted to know when it's coming. I think you've already answered that. But he wants to know, can we expect the Vision IN to also have a hybrid at some point?
Not initially. Not initially. I think the problem there are a number of things with hybrid. There is no incentives from the government with hybrid. So therefore, some of that advantage you had in the past is not there anymore. And of course, the technology is quite expensive because you have to have a petrol engine and you have to have also a battery engine. So the actual build, the physical cost of the car is quite high. Personally, I think most of the market will move from petrol engines to electric engines, and I don't think you'll see this hybrid in between. Hybrid works very well on very expensive cars. On very expensive cars, when price is perhaps not such an issue.
All right, a lot of you have been asking questions that Zac has already answered, so you might want to watch this video from the start again. There are questions from Saji, Vishwas, Manoj. I know all about Superb and Octavia, so we've actually gone through all of that, and so guys, request you to sort of go back and watch that again. You know, many of you are asking questions of the sister brand as well, so don't confuse the two. You know, that's the whole point of doing this. I think with the 2.0 exercise, Zac promises cars that are going to look extremely different, so don't worry about that. My question next for you, Zac, and this you know, goes back to just a little bit of what's happening in the market right now. Between the time that you know, the lockdown lifts and the situation goes as closely back to normal as possible, and the time April next year, let's say, when you are bringing in that first 2.0 product, what's going to keep that excitement going, and in what order will you be addressing some of the requirements of the market in that time frame?
I think originally, you know, all great plans unfortunately got ripped up because of coronavirus. So originally we had a really clear plan where we were launching each car one after the other. So we were launching the Rapid, the Karoq, and the Superb facelift one after the other, because of course we wanted to get maximum exposure for each car. We're now reviewing that, and we'll probably bring all these cars together at a very similar time as soon as the lockdown is over, because we have Rapids already produced, TSIs, we have Karoq here, and the Superb facelift is also very close to being ready for production as well. So we will bring all of those three cars virtually together as soon as the lockdown is lifted, and then at the end of the year, we will bring the Kodiaq Barrett Stage 6 petrol, and then now early in 2021, we will bring the all-new Octavia A8 as well before that comes. What we're doing also now at the moment during this whole lockdown period is actually making sure that our dealer network get through this whole phase as well, because we've got a social responsibility to the people employed in our business, not only our own business but also our dealer business. So we're working closely with our dealers to support them throughout this process at the moment.
All right, and now, of course, I want to talk to you a little bit. You know, people continue to ask questions about diesel. It's amazing. I mean, that's this. Many of you
I would ask these guys to go, when we've launched the Rapid TSI, to go and test drive the car. That would be my request to everybody.
Hey, I can't wait to drive it as well, Zac. I have to tell you, I've been itching to drive it. And what about the transmission options for all these upcoming cars that you mentioned?
So if you look at, let's take Rapid, which is the most important car for the short term, for what we're calling this bridging period. So we will start with manual at launch, and then in Q3 we will launch the automatic and the AT or automatic gearbox. So this is what we'll have in terms of, we'll have a manual, an automatic Rapid, and all the other cars will be in DSG. And most of the other cars we will sell will be in DSG because the more powerful cars, this gearbox works well for them.
And you have mentioned that as soon as the lockdown lifts and things start to sort of settle down is when you will bring the car to market anyway, the Rapid.
All three of these cars we will bring to the market as soon as the lockdown lifts and things settle down, then we will do that. And it'll be interesting to see how quickly the car market actually recovers going forward.
All right. Kushal, whose question you answered earlier, it says that he was all set to book a Karoq, but now he's seen the visuals of the Octavia and he's getting confused whether he should wait for that. He knows they're both two different segments, but he's still confused, and he also wants to know what colors the Karoq is launching in.
So he'll have to wait until after the lockdown to see the cars. I think probably from the end of next week there'll be a lot more information on the website about the cars as well. So if he looks on the website from the end of next week, he'll see a lot more information about the cars.
That's fair. So that's a very specific answer for you then, Kushal.
Yeah.
Shom asks a question that's interesting about the northeast region of the country. How come you don't have enough dealers on that side? What's the reason?
He is absolutely right. We do not have dealers in this area. I think it's called the Seven Sisters area. And so I'm pleased.
All right, we had a little bit of a glitch there, as we would have typically in a live situation. So hang in there with me as I reconnect to Zac. But remember, he was talking about, of course, what's going to be happening as soon as the lockdown lifts and some of the products that are coming in straight away. So, like I said, just hang in there as I reconnect to him. And in the meanwhile, of course, I am going to remind you about the contest. So, just let's quickly take you through the details of how to enter the contest, and hopefully I should have him back then.
Log on to carandbike.com/freewheeling and answer a simple question. 3 lucky winners win a 2-night 3-day stay at any domestic Club Mahindra resort. Not just that, at the end of the month, all correct entries are eligible for the grand prize of an all-expense-paid 3-night 4-day trip to Dubai or Singapore. So, keep freewheeling. Terms and conditions apply.
Okay, so we will just reconnect with Zac in a second. The thing I can tell you though is, in the meanwhile, the questions that I have been asking you, you can get, well, there comes Zac now. So you can go to our website, carandbike.com/freewheeling, to get the answers to those questions. So, yes, Zac, if you can hear me, we had a little bit of
issue then. I'm not sure it was you or me, but
I think it was at my end. Yeah, I think it was at my end. But we'll get you back up here in a second. I know that you got cut off where we were speaking earlier, but do you want to finish that point, or should I get to the next question? However you prefer.
What was the point? I can't remember.
You're talking about how, basically when the situation returns to normal, and how quickly we go back to some of these the products, especially what's been happening with the cars that are ready to go. The manuals is what you'll launch first.
Okay. I think we answered that question. There was a question about the Northeast dealers, and I said I would open 2 dealers there as well. So,
do you know how soon you're going to do that?
Within a few months.
All right, great. So that's something that people are going to be happy to hear from you, no doubt. And again, a lot of people still asking you about cars like the Kamiq and of course the diesels. My God, those questions keep coming. So I know you've said they should go test the TSIs in the meanwhile.
Yeah, this is my response. Yes.
All right, fair enough. Before we sort of get cut off again, I'm going to ask that third question of the contest. So remember, guys, that 3 questions is what I have asked you. I would have asked you by the end of this, and you've got to go ahead and get the right answers. So simple one again. This one's again Škoda related, but from India. Where is the Škoda Octavia assembled in India? Option 1, Sanand. Option 2, Aurangabad. Option 3, Chakan or Pune. That's the outskirts of Pune. So the 3 options again: Sanand, Aurangabad, or Chakan, Pune. The question is, where is the Škoda Octavia assembled in India? So not a tough one, and you just need to go to our website and answer, and of course enter some of your own details there as well. And yeah, hopefully you could be getting those lucky prizes. So you've got lots of questions still, I know, lining up here. But before anything else, and before I lose the connection with you again, Zac, I have to image that I want. All right, there we go. I see an image of this Irish pub. It's Beckett's, if I can see that correctly.
Yeah, Beckett's. Yeah.
Tell us about that.
So a couple of years, almost 3 years ago, a friend of mine approached me about buying an Irish bar in town. I would say that I learned a lot from this process. And I think it's like everything in life. If you don't take some risks, I'll tell this to everybody, if you don't take some risks in life, you don't make any mistakes and you don't learn anything. So it's a lot of fun. I enjoy it. I wouldn't say it's a good investment, but I'm learning stuff from that with every interaction we do. And it's a very different type of environment, of course, to selling cars in India. But yeah, we really enjoy it. We have a lot of fun. It would be nice to say it was a good investment, but I can't actually say that. my wife is not listening, I don't think. So I think we're okay.
Well, while you were talking, we were seeing the Facebook page, and so just to sort of scroll through some of the pictures and posts made by it. So how long back was this? How long have you had it?
We bought this 3 years ago. So 3 years ago we bought this Irish bar, and the guys trying. It's really good. I mean, it's a gastro bar. So what we got is very good quality food, of course, and of course, being an Irish bar, it's also a sports bar. So we've got 6 or 7 TV screens for showing Champions League and things like this. And the good thing is, I think during the Cricket World Cup, I had a huge group of Indian friends from Prague who rented virtually the entire bar to watch the India versus Pakistan game. I think the result was the match was what they wanted, but we all know it wasn't a great game of cricket from that point of view. But nevertheless, I have to say that I'd much rather have 25 Indian guys drinking and eating all day long than a bunch of Italians watching a cricket match for 90 minutes and going home. So they were good customers at that time too. I remember that story.
Well, that's a good story, and of course it prompts me to ask you: are you a cricket person at all?
Absolutely, I followed cricket since I was a kid. I used to go to see Northamptonshire play cricket in England with my grandfather. So yeah, I played a little bit, but I was never very good. But of course, we all enjoy it, whether we're good or not. It doesn't matter. It's holding a bat and just enjoying it. So yeah, I'm a cricket fan, sure.
And that is.
I watched the Ashes and the World Cup, and I was on the edge of my seat. It was amazing.
And that is where you're from, isn't it? Where originally you're from, I should say.
Originally, I'm from Northamptonshire in England. Yes.
So, but what's this whole transition been like? I mean, obviously, it's the VW Group and Škoda that took you to all these different places. You mentioned, of course, that you've spent time in different countries. But how did it all sort of start? If I could quickly ask you that.
It started with, I remember having a conversation with a guy, with a manager in Škoda Auto. I think it was at Geneva Motor Show back in 2006. And we had a conversation about doing a job swap with a guy in Škoda Auto. And I can remember bringing my wife and kids, they were very young at the time, like I think under 10, to Prague. And at the end, the conversation was saying, okay, so what's stopping us? Because the first move, when you move from one country to another, the first move has always been the most difficult one. After that, you start to understand how the expat lifestyle works, how to get things done, how to make things happen in different countries. And of course, then it becomes easier. But the first move is always difficult. But yeah, we did a job swap with a guy in Prague, and I haven't looked back. I've loved it. I've really enjoyed the experience. And it's not only that, it's also taught my kids lots of things about culture and about different cultures, different environment, and different countries too. And they've grown. They've grown as a result of that too.
No, that's great. I can totally relate to that, being an army kid and having moved around a lot. But
exactly, yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's the best way to be, really. But I am biased. I simply cannot not ask you some of these questions before I let you go, because that is what we promised people, and so that's what they signed up for. There's a question about the response to the karaoke ever since bookings were opened last month, and so how many bookings do you have, and what about the bookings for the Rapid 1.0 TSI?
So both of those bookings have been open online. I've been open at the moment with dealerships, and obviously the current environment is no indication for the success of the car. I'm sure at the moment the majority of Indian car buyers have other things to think about than buying cars. People are focusing on their health, they're focusing on the health of their family, they're focusing on the education of their children, and of course working from home. So we have some orders, but obviously it's no real indication of I don't think real customer demand. So let's see what happens when we launch the car properly, and then start advertising and marketing the cars, and then let's see what happens when the cars arrive dealership. So I think at the moment, yes, we have orders, but it's no indication of real demand because of the situation we're in.
Okay. Ritvik says that with your 2.0 portfolio, and I'm going to sort of add to that, given the flexibility that you get with the platform as well as the drivetrains, is there a possibility for India for you to consider the MPV segment?
This is another good possibility. As I said earlier, we have the MQB-A0 India platform. Now we have to work out the right business case for the right, actual what we call the hut to put on top of it, and the right body style from that point of view. So this is completely open as to what we will do in terms of the future cars on the MQB-A0 India platform. So an MPV is also a possibility. I know there's been some very successful small MPVs launched, medium MPVs launched in India recently, I think, from competitors. So let's look at it.
All right. There's a comment from Vishwa Swaroop, who says, Zac has been a very proactive director and has been directly engaging with customers. So this is just a word of appreciation for him on this regard.
It's nice to get his feedback.
All right. There's a question that, of course, again, I should have probably asked you a long time ago. This is from Atul. What's it like working from home?
It's not, I would say, it teaches you a lot. You know, I mean, you have to work very differently to, of course, being in the office. As I said to you earlier, I miss some of the office camaraderie, etc., etc. But it's also, you know, you sit here all day long from 6 o'clock in the morning, staring at a screen, being on the telephone the whole time. So I'm coping with it. We're working together as a team. Everybody's working well on the whole thing. But you know, I miss the office environment. I have to say, 100%. I miss it. But we're making the best of what we're doing. And I'm sure you'd be rather test driving cars as well.
Oh yeah, but you know, you're right. There's something to be said about learning a whole new different way of doing things. I think that there is that.
Yeah.
Tell me though that, you know, when it comes to spending time at home, it also gives you time to sometimes do things that, you know, get lost in commutes and travel. Since you are being able to sort of, you know, do that, is there a hobby you've gotten back to, a sort of a
Not
pursuit, a
got back
book?
to, but I'm going to disappear just for 3 seconds.
Sure. Uh, it's always
So
good.
I'm car.
Ah, there you go. Do you want to strum something
Oh,
for us?
please no, because I am learning. I will not strum anything. Maybe if we ever do this again, then I will strum something for you. But I'm trying to follow an app with a daily lesson. So as I say, I bought a guitar. The funny thing is that the guitar shop was officially closed. The guy was there in the shop, so he opened the window and he sold me a guitar through the window, which I thought was quite was quite amusing. But so yeah, so I'm learning the guitar, and this is a completely new thing for me. So yeah, so like everybody, we can use the time, and it also helps you switch off from work to do something different like this as well. So that's what I'm doing.
No, more power to you. I mean, I definitely will take you up on that. The next time we're speaking, maybe you could play something for us. You know, there's also a whole lot that gets said about, you know, all the housework that you have to do and the cooking and all of that. So, any interesting experiences there before I let you go?
I'm cooking, absolutely, and
What's the favorite?
I'm very good at risotto. I'm very good at spaghetti bolognese, and I actually cooked a really good curry only 2 days ago with a recipe from one of my team. So this was good too. So yeah, so I am cooking. Are you cooking too, Siddharth?
A fair amount, yes.
Yeah, yeah. I like it. I like cooking, and I am cooking as well. And I hope I would go to every guy out there. Try your hand at doing some cooking. It's good. And the good thing is, if you cook, you don't have to clean up afterwards.
You know, and I must tell you that I've always enjoyed cooking. So it's one of the things that I would never have time for of late. So I'm actually enjoying the fact that I have now some time to be able to do it. So yeah, no
Good.
complaint.
It's the whole planning thing. The whole planning for the meal is good, and then of course you go out and buy the things. So yeah, no, I'm very much enjoying cooking, and my wife's enjoying it as well. So
All right, so that's the good part. That it's not just you who's enjoying it,
no, she's
but
enjoying it. Oh, she told me it's nice anyway. But there you go. But if she didn't, I'm not going to cook again afterwards.
maybe that's why she told you it's nice.
Maybe this is the case exactly. So,
No,
okay.
but I'll tell you what, I cannot wait for things to get back to normal, because now not only do I want to look forward to driving some of the cars, the many cars we've just talked about today, but maybe you know, if I can get a little presumptuous and perhaps lucky to also try the spaghetti bolognese one day.
This anything is possible.
That's not a yes, by the
Say
way.
my spaghetti bolognese is better than my curry, so that would be the one I would recommend.
I'm
So I
very
need to
happy to
practice
try.
more.
I
Okay,
shall be,
good.
and
Then,
hopefully then
then we'll,
soon, right? Because we do want normalcy to return. Um,
of course, of course.
and I want
But
to.
everybody needs to stay safe. Let's stop the spread of this disease so that the world can return back to normal, and we can carry on enjoying the travel and everything else that we were doing beforehand. It's
Zach,
important.
that's an absolute, you know, let's say the right note to end on. Your message is absolutely spot on too, and seriously can't do enough of that. Just stay home, stay safe. I hope that it's the same with you and your family too. You know, we wish you and them the very best, and also your teams. I mean, I know they're all itching to get back to work, to get these cars to market. So all the very best with that.
They're doing a lot of planning, so there's no excuse not for it not to be fantastic because they're doing a lot of planning at the moment.
We will watch all of that unfold very closely. Obviously, we will track that. But this has been fun. I mean, I appreciate your time. Thank you for agreeing to do
My
it,
pleasure. I've enjoyed talking to you.
and stay safe over there. Once you are clear to travel, of course, we'll be very happy to have you back here.
Yeah, and I'm looking forward to it as well. I'm looking very much forward to coming back. Okay.
All right.
Thank
Thank you again, and take care of yourself and the family. Bye-bye.
You too. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Okay, so that was Zac Hollis, who had so much to share with you. We talked about all the upcoming cars. We've talked about even what he's been up to the last few days during the lockdown, coming to us from his home in Prague in the Czech Republic, which is, of course, home also to Škoda Auto. And remember that there's going to be so much action from Škoda as part of this whole Škoda VW 2.0 India strategy. We've taken you through some of that today, so your feedback is very valuable. I know many of you asked questions, and some of them I know I couldn't necessarily get to. Many of you were asking the same questions over and over, which shows how much you are invested in what's happening with Škoda in India. So I truly appreciate that. Please keep your feedback coming. Please keep your suggestions coming as well on how we can make this more engaging for you. I certainly hope you've enjoyed this interaction, and we'll have a lot more coming to you. In fact, before I go, I will quickly tease for you just what is coming up on the next episode of Freewheeling. So that's not very far away. In fact, just 24 hours from now. So we had the 5 p.m. tonight, and well, we'll also have 5 p.m. tomorrow. Take a look. Okay, so it's Gul Panag who will be here tomorrow at 5 p.m. So really looking forward to that. Old friend, CNB juror as well, has spent a lot of time with CNB. We have done a lot of content together too, and is a serious biker, huge automobile enthusiast, and also a licensed pilot, remember. So there'll be plenty to discuss with Gul. You know, she's always fun to talk with and to interact with, as many of you regulars would already know. So I can see some of you are starting to react to that. Ajay, thank you for that. I am looking forward to having you join us as well at 5 p.m. tomorrow. And Vishwas, you are talking about getting Pavan Shetty from Porsche already in the pipeline. Pavan and I have spoken, and we're just trying to fix the calendar to figure out which day we can get him on the show. And you know what? The idea is to do something fun with Pavan too. So I'm sure we'll end up having a nice conversation. And you know, I can't wait to ask him about when the Taycan is coming to India. A quick word for some of you who are still live with me. The Taycan is going to be our big showcase review on CNB this week. So tomorrow when it goes on air on television, and then of course we'll also put it up on our YouTube channel. I've driven the Taycan and I was saving it to see what happens at the World Car Awards. And so you will have that as well. So Ajay, you've got a question for me. Where do you usually get those cast models? If you mean all these scale models, different places. There's motor shows, headquarter visits, sometimes on the drives as well that we are attending for that particular car. Some of these are really old. Some of them are, you know, gifts. Some of them are the ones I've bought myself. So yeah, a wide variety to answer that. Please get Pratap Bose. Gautam, again, that is lined up. Should I actually tell you when that's lined up for? Because I don't have the promo ready, but I can tell you when it's lined up for if you like. We have a tentative date for Pavan from Porsche, but yeah, I can tell you about. You got to answer me if you want to know. I will tell you. Looking forward to tomorrow, says Rishabh. I am looking forward to seeing you as well, Rishabh. Thank you. Niaz, I know you've been actively asking questions, so thank you again for being here, as you always have been. Rudy from BMW is what you're asking. We've asked him, and we're waiting for them to again confirm a date to us. So we're trying to get either Pallavi or Rudy from BMW as well. So that should be good. And any other suggestions of people you'd like to see on the show? We've got a whole lot of people lined up actually we're just trying to find slots now. So we've got, you know, the management at Indian Motorcycles. We've got the management at Lamborghini, the management from, where else? We have Tata Motors, of course. Like I said, we've already got somebody lined up for you. And FCA, we got Partha Datta coming up on Monday. So, all right, what are you guys saying? Yes, please, says Gautam. So it's Tuesday at 8 p.m. Make a note of it, and you will see, of course, a lot of promotion from us on that. But Tuesday, 8 p.m., if everything works out, is when Pratap should be on the show, and we should have fun with Pratap, I'm sure. We've got the MG management lined up as well for possibly Wednesday or Thursday next week. So it's a really packed calendar. You know, Freewheeling, I started this show with the idea that we'll probably get like one guest a week, but it's your response that is prompting us to do more than just one. We're doing 3, 4 a week, sometimes back to back, 2 days running. And for those of you who haven't seen it, please go watch the interaction with Gaurav Kapoor, because that was an absolute blast. It was great fun. We were laughing right through it. So something for you to definitely look out for as well. We've asked Kia, Sudesh, I know you've said you want to know more about the Kia Soul. That's another review that you'll have from me very soon, I promise. I have driven the car already, and we've just kind of been saving that review, so you'll have that too. So Siddharth Lal from Royal Enfield, again, asked but not confirmed. So if not Sid, because he of course lives in the UK, we might be able to get somebody from the India management. So we'll wait and see, but I promise you that we'll continue to bring the action your way. And since one of you asked, can I reach this? Yeah, one of you asked about the models. It's a really old Fabia. This is the Combi, which is the station wagon version, which we never got in India. But the launch color internationally for this previous generation, which did come to India, was something like this. I had driven the car many years ago and gotten very excited by it. And then, of course, it did come to India, as you all know. So just thought I will share that with you. And when is the Taycan review out, says Vishwas? Tomorrow on CNB. So please tune in to that on NDTV, and you'll be able to see it. And the Cayenne Coupe, yes, I can't wait to drive it. Haven't had my chance. There was an international drive that I couldn't attend, but hopefully sometime soon. So with that, thank you all for watching. Thank you all for the support. Thank you all for the suggestions. And thank you for all the questions. Please keep watching. Please stay safe, stay home, wash your hands, and do just the essentials if you have to by stepping out. And if you do, please do remember to wear your seat belts. So with that, I'm going to sign off. Any of you watching this later on, please go ahead and post your questions as comments on this video, and we will still try and address those comments for you. So don't think that you've missed out on any of the action. And for those of you who did interact with Zac and me today, thank you again. Stay safe, and bye-bye.